The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening to you all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, police on Grand Bahama making a major drug bust yesterday, seizing millions of dollars in dangerous drugs and taking 2 male suspects into custody. Sabrina Brown has details.
The major drug haul resulted in the seizure of over $3 million in dangerous drugs. During a press briefing at police headquarters on Sunday evening, officer in charge of the Northern Bahamas Assistant Commissioner of Police, Emric Seymour, said this drug bust was the result of an extensive investigation.
Shortly after 11:30 this morning, they had occasion to go to a house in the Lukai area, Midshipman Road area, where they executed a search warrant. While in the process of doing that, they had reason to engage a vehicle, which is a 2006 Isuzu pickup truck, which came into the area. The officers had reason to search the vehicle, and in doing so, they would have uncovered or discovered 3 boxes, and 1 bag. Examining the boxes and the bag, and the lone driver, they discovered some 102 kilos of cocaine.
Officers arrested 2 Bahamian men, a 49-year-old of Bayshore and Midshipman Roads and a 36-year-old of Fiddler's Green. The operation then led police to the home of the Fiddler's Green resident.
They were able to discover 4 coolers which contained 56 packages of suspected marijuana. And so in all of the efforts today, what was discovered or uncovered was 102 kilos of cocaine, 287 pounds with a street value of some $2.8 million, and of course 56 packages of marijuana with some 303 pounds with a street value of some $308,000.
ACP Seymour says this massive effort is a clear indication that police are working diligently to curb crime.
It just goes to show that we will be relentless in our resolve to bring in the criminal element to justice, whether it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And so I want to commend the officers for the hard work, the diligence that was put into this overall process. And you can expect, this investigation, by no stretch of the imagination, is completed. You can expect, or we can expect, perhaps there may be some more arrests. We don't know, but the investigation is still open.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Over in Bimini Police, there needs your help in locating Lucas Roll of Buccaneers Point, South Bimini. Roll is wanted for violating a court order and conspiracy to import dangerous drugs. Police say he is considered armed and extremely dangerous. If you have any information regarding the whereabouts of Lucas Roll of South Bimini, you should call Bimini Police at 347-3144-919-911, Crime Stoppers at 328-8477, or call your nearest police station. And as the country continues to grapple with the issue of crime, members of the Grand Bahama Command of the Royal Bahamas Police Force took time out yesterday to assemble in a worship service to seek spiritual guidance for the year ahead. As Megan Shepard tells us, they were joined by the officers from Bahamas Customs Department, Bahamas Immigration, and the Road Traffic Department.
Members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force hosting their annual church service in grand style Sunday afternoon. Officers started off with a musical procession featuring the police band, and officers marched the streets of Grand Bahama to the Freeport Seventh-day Adventist Church. Pastor Henry Monker diving into the mat of crime, stating that in the darkness crime will occur, but those that are guilty are not the only ones responsible.
You must understand, here there are folks who do crime and they are wrong, but then there are other individuals who benefit from criminal activity, who give rise to the criminals. And there are some of them, I'm trying to tell you, just don't stand on the crease corner with their pants hanging down around their bottom part. But there are some of them who sit up in offices in high places, wear neckties and broad brim hat, and they're giving rise to the foolishness in our country.
Monker telling officers that as long as they're in positions of leadership, there will always be outsiders casting blame and strewing negativity. He encouraged them to stay focused on their duties to protect and serve. Now to the nation, Pastor Monker says that he is fed up with the attitude of residents who are constantly complaining about situations but not lending to the solution.
I'm just sick and tired of folks blaming someone else for something else. It doesn't matter to me whether you are PLP. It doesn't matter to me whether you are F&M. It doesn't matter to me whether you are DNA. The time has come that we gotta stop blaming somebody else, because it bothers me. All these folks who blaming people, all they're doing is sitting down on their blessed assurance and yapping about what's going on. But can I tell somebody, if you're gonna blame somebody, if you're gonna make noise, at least get up off your blessed assurance and do something about it. I'm tired of hallelujahs. I need some do-ya-luyas.
Monker says the solution lies within coming together as a community.
Come here, officer, because I got to talk to you as well. Because first and foremost, you must understand that even though you may put on a uniform, the danger is, I know it ain't all of you, but you must understand, if there's one bad apple in the crew, it's going to color all the rest of the bad apple. So here is what you must understand. When you put on that suit, you got to be able to have a good attitude. You can't act like Big Bad Billy when you pull me over on the side of the road. Yeah, I may have been speeding. Yeah, I may run the light, but at least treat me with respect. And if you treat me with respect, you will get it back to you. It's a together thing that we're dealing with. So since I'm an equal opportunity preacher, let me give you your opportunity right now. Here is what you must understand. We must be willing to respect law and order in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
The Minister of State for National Security, Senator the Honorable Keith Bell, also attended that church service yesterday, saying the church service is an opportunity to come together to pray for peace, security, and stability of the nation. While commending officers in the northern Bahamas for making a significant decrease in crime, he says residents should also be applauded for doing their part to support the police in the war against crime.
Each of you officers in the northern Bahamas are to be commended for your hard work, dedication, and commitment to the task at hand, which led to the attainment of the positive results for the year 2013. Added to this were the collaborative efforts and cooperation of other law enforcement agencies and community stakeholders. All of the agencies combined resources to ensure the minimization of criminal activities in the communities of the northern Bahamas. The citizenry in Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini are to be applauded for the continuous show of support and assistance rendered to the police and to the agencies.
7 illegal immigrants arraigned before the court this morning for breaching the immigration laws of this country. 6 Haitians, including 1 female, were charged with illegal landing, and a Jamaican man was arraigned for overstaying. The Haitians were each given a fine of $300. Reports say they were each able to pay the fine and are now on their way to New Providence to the detention center to await deportation. Now, the Jamaican is facing a $3,000 fine or the alternative, 2 years in jail. Immigration officials tell us that some of the immigrants arrived in the Bahamas more than a year ago. They were arrested over the past 4 days in various communities in the Freeport area with the assistance of police officers. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition continues right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Bahamians observed the first majority rule holiday this past Friday. To commemorate this important day in history, a march and concert was held in the Freeport area on Friday afternoon, and on Friday night, the focus shifted to West Grand Bahama. That's where parishioners of St. Mary Magdalene Anglican Church in West End held a special dinner. It was an extravagant evening under the stars to commemorate the first majority rule holiday. Residents traveled to the Western District for an evening of fine dining and live music to commemorate the significant moment in history. Anglican priest Father Ian Claridge says he was pleased with the level of support from the community.
I'm quite pleased with the event in terms of information getting out and us being able to enjoy and celebrate majority rule, the day when we took control of our destinies and made one more step towards mastery or being masters of our destinies.
A cross-sector of the community was present, including Minister for Grand Bahama and other parliamentarians. Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama, the Honorable Obi Wilshcombe, explained that majority rule came about following many years of struggle and hard work. One event he focused on was Black Tuesday.
Cecil Wallace Whitfield on that day in question came up the stairs several times when Sir Lyndon was talking and told him to throw the mace out the window. And Sir Lyndon hesitated because he said, I was scared. He said, I was scared, I didn't know what to do. And when Cecil came for the last time and shouted at him, he could see the mouth moving and he shouted. He then got up and the mace went out of the window. And that was a turning point in Bahamian history. That was the day that the Bahamian people knew that 1967 was just around the corner.
He adds that majority rule holiday should be a time for reflection, a time when the country pauses to remember the many struggles of our forefathers.
This day is for us to stop and think about where we've come from. How did we get here? Whether the founding fathers, the Lyndon Pinleys and the Cecil Wallace Whitfields and the Milo Butlers, how do they feel about what we're doing today? How are they looking at us? Do they feel proud of our work? And do we see them as our heroes and our heroines, people who stood up and who gave all that they had, even though they had very little to give? But they gave their heart and they left it out there for us.
The Minister of Tourism says we must build on the legacy of our forefathers.
We have to challenge ourselves. We must use days like these to build upon it, to cause for us to reflect and to take that solemn oath that we will ensure that we have a great country.
In other news, the Bahamas Union of Teachers celebrating a victory involving an issue at the Maurice Moore Primary School. You may recall that a few teachers were abruptly transferred to other schools last year. Tonight, Sabrina Brown tells us that the matter has been resolved.
3 teachers who were transferred from the Maurice Moore Primary School at the start of this academic year have been reassigned to that public institution. The decision to move those teachers last year caused a major upset within the education system, which led to a major standoff between the Ministry of Education and the Bahamas Union of Teachers. Area Vice President Quintin Larota accompanied the educators to school on their first day back on Monday morning.
The reception was very well, and I compliment the principal and the maturity that she displayed. We had a meeting, the teachers and myself, the principals in the shop, sure that went very well. She was gracious in her comments, and the union likewise. And I'm hopefully that this signifies a change in working relationship at the school.
After agitating on behalf of those teachers for months, the union leader says he's happy that this matter has been resolved.
What was clear is that at the time the transfers took place, were outside of the agreed time frame by our collective bargaining agreement. Also, the ministry could not substantiate any exigency, which would be the reason that a transfer takes place outside of the time frame.
He says the challenge now will be rebuilding the relationship with the ministry.
The relationships, long-standing relationships that have existed between ministry officials and union officials. In fact, we all would note that our president and the minister started off with a very good working relationship. Those have been strained. I've had a very good working relationship with some of the ministry officials here, and those have been strained in this ordeal to some degree.
Larota says he's optimistic about the way forward as union and ministry officials are working to resolve other outstanding issues.
We've made some progress recently, and that came about as from a confluence of meetings with the Prime Minister, the Minister of Labour, and some of the conciliations. Also, the Minister of Education and I had a conversation which he initiated, which I think is commendable on his part. Some teachers have received some of the monies that were owed, and more is on the way. And hopefully the question of access to the schools that exist in Nassau That's before the Supreme Court, and we'll await the decision on that. And at the end of the month, when we meet as an executive committee, we could analyze, overview, and seek as to how we move forward.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. Ricardo Lightborn is up next with sports.
Hey everybody, it's Sports Time. I'm Ricardo Lightborn. This one goes out to Mario Pedro Balou. Yes, the little guy celebrating. This is coming from his family tonight. Bahamas Olympic Committee on Grand Bahama this weekend, folks. And get this, the 2014 year looks bright. The Bahamas Olympic Committee held its first official meeting of the new year on Grand Bahama at the Grand Lucayan Resort. BOC President Wellington Miller said coming to Grand Bahama to hold the conclave was a first. The first time the meeting was held outside of New Providence. The matters discussed will make a huge difference in the BOC's mandate.
At this conclave, a strategic plan was presented, and Grand Bahama is certainly in promoting the Olympic movement throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have 3 major international multi-sports games and 1 Olympic festival. The Commonwealth Games run from the 23rd of July to the 3rd of August in Glasgow, Scotland. The Youth Olympic Games is from the 16th of August to the 28th of August in China. The Central American and Caribbean Games, CAC Games, run from the 15th of November to the 30th of November in Veracruz, Mexico.
The 2014 year for the BOC will focus on programs in the Family Islands and preparing the Bahamas national teams for international competition. The partnership with Urban Renewal on Grand Bahama will also be heightened this year.
Olympic solidarity is here, is where we, the National Olympic Committee, apply to the IOC to fund and carry out our local program. Specific of our plan in this area will be provided by the Secretary General, and a number of our other executives are here to provide updates on our activities.
The conclave was a positive step for the Bahamas Olympic Committee. The 2014 sports year will be fantastic. The conclave also gave Grand Bahama executives a chance to hobnob with the Grand Bahama sports leaders. The reception was held at the Grand Lucayan Resort. The women in sports, especially one of the main focus of this conclave. Kathy Dillette, Assistant Secretary General, is responsible for the education of women in sports. Reaching out to the youth and athletes is a priority, she says.
We are looking forward to bringing the Olympic Values Education Program into the schools and hopefully working closely with the Ministry of Education to get the program in and get our kids on board with the Olympic Values Program. Also looking forward to really encouraging all sports associations and federations to get the young children involved, because that's where we need to build our base.
Vice President Cora Hepburn is excited of her portfolio, Women in Sports. As a former athlete and now sports administrator, she's looking to open more doors for women in sports and their upward mobility. The incorporation of young women and their development is also an area that she says that needs to be looked into.
Women in Sports Committee actually coming off a very successful luncheon, and it was November the 9th, where we honor about 40 women. And we hope to carry this through during our term in office and hopefully recognize as many successful women in the country as possible.
And you hear from other executives of the BOC as we venture through the week. Now, the Grand Bahama Volleyball Association Championship continued at the YMCA. Let's go out and see exactly who had a good night. The B-Bays All-Stars and the Bakers boys on court in Game 1 of the Co-Ed Championship Series, and this was a tussle from the first serve of the match. It was the boys taking the first set, 25-23. While the boys riding high and team strategy seems to be working, in the second set, the All-Stars having some issues and miscues. They were very costly. The Stars found some kind of tempo and a pretty good play of the nets, but watched a spike to the open court by the Bakers boys. The Stars got back in business and rolled up the 2 sets, 25-16 and 25-17. The boys did not like it and returned in favor and took the next set, 25-17, and that's in. Bebe Stars did not take it lightly and went back to basic volleyball, the good set and the finish. The Bakers boys also ran into some hitches in the road and gave up some points. The All-Stars took advantage of the boys being out of position and the finish by Tyra. Bakers boys pulled up their socks and rallied back to get back in the match, and the All-Stars were stunned. The Bebe's All-Stars fought off the Bakers boys to take the final set 15-13 and a one-game lead in the series. GBVA President Oriel Knowles said the season went well and the talent level at the league has made a difference.
Season went pretty good, especially in the men's division. We had 5 men's teams, really competitive teams, and every night any team could have lost because of the competition, and it was good, especially the Shipyard. They are in the finals, and it's a good thing for the sport.
The way forward for the Grand Bahama Volleyball Association in 2014 looks pretty good. The sport is back and back in a big way.
This new season that's coming up, because of the new players that we have into the league now, we tend to have better balance of play, and the young guys that are in there, they get to play the sport, and that's a good thing for the sport of volleyball at this time. We're trying to get more athletes from the schools out so that we can really make this the young people's sport at this time.
In the men's series, the Grand Bahama Shipyard Cruisers defeated the Tennis Spikers 25-14, 22-25, 25-16, 23-25, and 15-13. That series is tied at 1-1. And also the sports community has condolences tonight to the Cephas family over there in Grand Quiabaco. Craig lost his wife, Petrel, yesterday, and all of us here in Grand Bahama extend condolences to you, buddy. We are giving you our prayers. That's it for sports.